Good morning and welcome back to you all, and to what I hope is going to be the start of a great bank holiday weekend for you all. You're listening to Coffee Guy, and today I've got a review of the Russian Tier 7 Tiger 1 tank. Its technical term is the TV1-100, and that is because the main difference about this Tiger is that it comes with a Russian 100mm gun, the very same one that you get in the motherland. Now, before alarm bells start ringing, don't worry, the gun has been buffed significantly, so the rate of fire is much better than on the motherland, although you do still get the same penetration and damage values. So, this tank, as a number of you may be aware, is on a personal offer going around this week, so you can pick it up for the bargain price of 3,700 gold. I think it works out around about £10 if you do the conversion from one of the larger gold bundles. And I thought, seeing as it's bank holiday weekend, a lot of people will be playing tanks, you might want to know whether this tank is worth it. And particularly, that will be true for a lot of people out there, a lot of those Tiger fans who have a lot of Tiger tanks already. So you might have, for example, the Hammer, Tiger 131. You might just have the Tech Tree Tiger 1, and you might be thinking, do I need one of these in my Russian inventory? Well, hopefully that's what this video will describe. Now, straight away we can see that this tank does a lot more damage than the standard Tiger 1. And that is because with the 100mm gun you get an extra 10 damage, bringing it up to 250 damage per shot. And what with the rate of fire buffs over this 100mm gun on the motherland, you actually get a slightly higher DPM than the standard Tech Tree Tigers 1 as well. It's only 30 extra damage per minute, but hey, it counts. And with that extra dirt comes one of my favourite features about this gun. I have noticed it incinerates things. It is really good at setting enemy tanks on fire if you hit them just behind the turret. And you'll see some of this, several examples of this in this game coming up. And what this does is shows off another attribute of this tank as well, because whilst it has a slightly weaker engine than the fully upgraded Tech Tree Tiger 1, you can see it's still not too sluggish. It can really accelerate and catch up with people. Also, behind this little hillock there, you can see that nice 7 degrees of gun depression coming in handy as well. So I'm just trying to avoid some shots here, and we got our first fire set on him. So I'm going to start to move up now with my allies, try and see if we can hunt down those enemy arty. It looks like our team's got this. I'm pretty confident. Well, actually, no, I'm not confident at all. I can see that our flank is completely crumbled down by the 0H line. But even so, there's enough of us up here, I think we'll get around there in time. So again, it's showing off that speed, showing off the good looks of this tank as well. I do really like that green background, the stripes and numbering. It does look pretty stereotypically Russian, and I do really like it. I've been waiting to add it to my collection for a while and thought I'll take the plunge. But it was quite a big plunge for me because I do already have a lot of other Tigers, and I was really humming and hawing and thinking, do I need it? I've already got the Hammer, I've already got Tiger 131, I've already got down at Tier 6, the Citadel as well, and as well as having the Tech Tree fully upgraded Tiger 1. So I was really quite uncertain, but having it come up on a decent personal offer like that for the first time that I'm aware of, I couldn't resist and thought I'd go with it, treat myself for the bank holiday. And I must say, I don't really regret it at all, because it just gives it quite a different playstyle. That whack that you get when you land a hit really does make quite a big difference, I feel, compared to the Tiger 1. And of course it's not all without its downsides. You do lose a little bit of penetration on your standard rounds. You only have 190 on this compared to 203, so effectively you're losing about 10 penetration to gain 10 damage. But I quite like that. I quite like that trade-off. Now, in case you're wondering, the armour is no better. And you've actually got the standard 1500 hit points that all of the Tiger 1 premium tanks have. That's 50 less, I think, in the fully upgraded tech tree. And there we have our second fire of the game. Now, I realise at this point that I probably got a little bit too ambitious and I put myself in a bit of a crap position, because whilst he's low on health, I'm also a one hit for him too. So I'm just trying to use this rock as cover and wait for my allies to get around the side of him. I'm going to try and play a sneaky game of looking where he's pointing his gun and coming out to trap him in the meantime. So I'm getting some assist damage here, and I can see his gun's now turning away, so I see my chance and get the hit on the lower glacier plate, and that brings me up to 3 kills, which I'm very happy with, considering this is only my 3rd game in this tank. Although, to be honest, it's not like there's a steep learning curve. It's a Tiger. If you know Tigers, you'll do really well in this straight away. So the last tank is an M4, and that might seem like a really soft target, but I am cautious that if he's got that 105mm derp gun on him, he can still one-hit me. So I'm just trying to see where he's going, and he's not seeing me. He's going straight across, and there we go. Got our last fire. 3 fires set on different tanks on this game. In fact, 4 fires, if I remember correctly. So I don't know if that's just fluke of chance in this game, but I think that derp on this gun does give you a slightly higher chance of setting things alight. So I managed to get obviously an arsonist medal there, but I also got my first class badge as well, and a fairly good amount of silver off of that too. So I think the silver bonuses for this tank are 30%. Let me just double check that though. Yes, it's 30% silver bonus, and it is a 20% XP bonus as well. Unfortunately, it's not a dual crew trainer, which might have been nice if it could have been a German and Russian heavy trainer, but oh well. So, while we're here, I've changed the format, you might have noticed, of these videos. I've put the gameplay footage first, and then I've put the garage footage afterwards, because I figured people scrolling across this on YouTube, they might be just wanting to see how the tank plays. They don't necessarily want to hear 10 minutes of talk about the stats and modules and armour thicknesses and history of the tanks. So I've tried switching them around, and yeah, just let me know if you like that. If people do like it, then I can do that in future. Now, you know, speaking about history, that is something that I try to put into these videos a little bit, but there's probably not that much to say at this point. It is a Tiger 1. Most people are familiar with what Tiger 1 stood for. It was probably the pinnacle of Germany's tank engineering during World War II. It was a design that started off quite early in the war and went through many iterations, ironing out all of the faults that came in a tank that was this big and this overly engineered. And by the end of the war, it was finally up to a point where it was actually a very good tank, a very formidable tank, and very rightly feared by a lot of the Allied tank crews who came up against it. British and American crews in particular were terrified of Tigers, and they often wrongly labelled all kinds of other tanks like Panzer IIIs and IVs that they encountered as Tigers. But this one is a Russian version. In terms of the accuracy of that, certainly the Russians captured plenty of Tiger 1s. I've come across a few rumours online about whether they did actually manage to get a 100mm gun of their own into the turret. I haven't come across any actual proof, any photos or anything like that. And I don't know, I'm not an engineer, I don't know how feasible fitting that gun into the Tiger 1's turret is. So for now, I guess we just have to go with it. It's on the cusp of feasibility, I guess. So I guess at this point, we can jump straight into some of the stats. So we can see that you get the 700 horsepower engine, which is standard for all of the premium Tiger 1s in the game. Crucially though, not for the Tech Tree one, that gets a higher engine, which we'll look at later on. And it gives you a pretty respectable power-to-weight ratio. The big selling point of this is that 100mm gun. gives you an aim time of 2.4 seconds, reload rate of 6.88 seconds, and a depression of 7 degrees. Now crucially, if you compare this to the Motherland, that is the same pen and damage, but it is a much faster rate of fire and it gives you a higher damage per minute. Also to note, the hold reverse, 28 degrees, is faster, I think, than the other Tiger ones, whether that's Tech Tree or whether that is premium ones. And the same goes for the turret reverse. The view range of 380 is about the same as many of the other Tiger 1 tanks, but the signal range 730 is the best I could see. So you get the best signal range with this premium tank. Now in terms of your ammunition, damage is obviously 10 higher on average, but you lose that 10, well it's actually 13 penetration you lose on average. Crew positions exactly the same as all of the other Tiger 1 tanks. And again, I'll quickly run through the armour here, but it is really identical to any other Tiger, so if you're familiar with Tech Tree Tiger 1, you're not going to be surprised by this armour layout. There's no spaced armour, there's no tracks stuck onto the side that count as extra armour, nothing like that. So it's your standard layout of layered mantlet armour, making that very tough. Quite weak, very low, so the true lower glacis plate right at the bottom there you can just about see is only 60, so if you come too far over a ridgeline, they can go straight through that. You want to be just enough back that they can only hit your gun mantlet on top of your turret really. You've got 80 sides and rear and turret. You can kind of make it work I guess if you get lucky with side scraping, but you really can't rely on that. And this frontal armour, considering that it's not sloped, 100 is really not that good. So it's, just like any other Tiger, if you come across most of the things you come across, they will be able to pen you. So you want to rely on trying not to get hit if you can. So in terms of the equipment that I put on, pretty standard really. Want to make the gun as quick and as quick aiming as possible. And because you're quite mobile, I figured coasted optics, you could go for binocs, so if you prefer to play it as more of a sniper. I was just quite keen to use that derp and maybe get in a little bit closer. So I wanted to take this opportunity to just run through and compare the Russian Tiger to all of the other Tigers you have available in the game. So we're going to take a look now at the Tech Tree Tiger 1. So you can see that this gets the much larger engine, giving you 870 horsepower. Which makes you a lot more nippy. You get the long-barreled 88mm gun, which gets a very respectable reload rate of 6.7 seconds, rate of fire of 8.96, and accuracy of 0.34, so it's a very good sniper. You do get the same view range, but you lose out on your signal range. And crucially, you also get a reduced hold reverse of only 26 degrees and a turret reverse of 23, so you're not losing much, but it is a little bit less. And that signal range is 710 rather than 730, so again not much, but you do lose a little bit. The armour, however, is exactly the same. So let's have a look at the premium competitors to the Russian Tiger, starting with the Tiger 1 hammer. You can see that the Tiger 1 hammer gets the same fully upgraded gun that you can get on the Tech Tree Tiger, but crucially it gets 0.33 accuracy, so it's the best accuracy you can get on a Tiger in the game. You also get the same view range, but you get a reduced turret traverse of only 20 degrees, so it's joint slowest you can get alongside Tiger 131. And again, the armour on this is exactly the same. But I can't remember if I mentioned before, you've got the weaker engine, 700, so you're you're about the same speed as the Russian Tiger with the Tiger 1 hammer. Tiger 131, the main difference here is that it gets the top engine, 870, so comparable to Tech Tree, but the gun itself has been altered, so it's only the 56 length rather than the 71. Now Now that's not as bad as it might sound, because the gun stats on Tiger 131 are very, very good. It's a very, very fast gun, although the accuracy of 0.36 is the same as you get on the Russian one, so it's no more accurate. But the advantage, obviously, is the -8 degrees of gun depression, which makes this a very good ridgeliner. And it gives this tank the highest damage per minute out of all of the Tigers. But you do pay for that in terms of the traverse speeds. So again, it's 20 on the turret, which is really not very good. And your signal range is appalling on Tiger 131. It's only 620. So it's swings and roundabouts. So to wrap it all up, if you want precision sniping, go for the hammer. If you want blistering rate of fire, get 131. If you want to do a big whack of damage, get the Russian Tiger. And if you just want a jack of all trades and you don't really want to spend any money, go for the Tech Tree Tiger. But I would say at 3,700 gold, this is a steal at the moment. I think it's on offer until Tuesday. But if that seems a bit high for you, and you would still like a premium Tiger, don't forget that with the Gamescom deals, Tiger 217 is on sale at 30% off in the premium Tech Tree at the moment. And you get the same whole armour stats for a slightly worse gunplay, but it is down at tier 6, and so it represents a very, very fun tank. I'll definitely recommend that. So that's all from me for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do hit subscribe, click like if you did. In the next couple of days, I hope to get the Sherman VC Firefly when the base bundle comes out, and I hope to be reviewing that. Two minds how to really compare that with the Boilermaker Firefly that I have at the moment. I can't really see them being any different. But I'd be quite interested to know what you all think about that. Do you think you're going to get the new Sherman Firefly? Do any of you have it? If you do, what do you think of it? Again, let me know in the comments below. And of course, hope you all have a wonderful bank holiday weekend. Coffee Guy out.